Hey guys, what's up? Back with another video. It's been a couple of days since the last did a video, so we're back. We're rolling. Let's do this, shall we? We kick off. We're gonna do this one today. We're gonna do a review of WWE One Night Stand Extreme Rules 2007. Let's get this on the way. Let's get rolling, shall we? We kick off the show with a stretcher match, of course, with Randy Orton taking on Rob Van Dam in a stretcher match. This is a pretty cool match, pretty cool opener. The story of the match was pretty disturbing, where basically, Randy Orton had this was the start of Randy Orton's, craziness, evilness, as you would call it, as he would go on a tear, giving people concussions, storyline concussions, putting them out. He put out Shawn Michaels the month before this at Judgment Day, and, Rob Van Dam took exception to that. And then Randy Orton gave him a concussion 6 days before this. So Rob Van Dam comes into this match at not 100%. And of course, Doom was awaiting Rob Van Dam. Yeah, very interesting storyline here, doing a concussion storyline. And Rob Van Dam sold the concussion very amazingly, very disturbingly at times. You know, not looking like he's not all there, which kind of you could say was very normal for Rob Van Dam, because, you know, wanna get high? It's 420. But yeah, very disturbingly storyline here, the concussion storyline. And very surprisingly though, Rob Van Dam was able to pick up the victory by pushing Randy Orton on the stretcher over the yellow line, at the finishing line at the top of the ramp. But of course, Doom was waiting Rob Van Dam at the end after the match, as Randy Orton would get his revenge and would punt Rob Van Dam into the ring post and DDT him onto the thin layers of mats at ringside, putting Rob Van Dam out of WWE for the good period of time and sending him to a little show called TNA Wrestling in 2010. Rob Van Dam, of course, would not be seen. This would be Rob Van Dam's last appearance with WWE until, I know he would make a one-off appearance at the Royal Rumble in 2009, but really he wouldn't be seen again until 2013. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Good opener. Let's continue. The next match, we had a tag team tables match, a 6-man tag team tables match to be exact. We had the new breed of Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvon, the alpha male, and Matt Striker, taking on the team of the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and CM Punk, representing the ECW Originals. This was an okay matchup. It got better towards the end when all six men got involved with the tables. But there was just that stupid rule at the beginning of the match where it's no disqualification, but they had to tag it in and out. I don't like that kind of stuff in these kind of matches, but it got a little bit better when all 6 men got involved, so it was pretty cool stuff. Big thumbs up to that match, and of course, CM Punk and the Originals would win. So, Team Punk won. Also, good to see Marcus Corvon / Monty Brown, whatever you want to call him. Him and Elijah Burke made a good duo. Good stuff. Yeah. Next matchup, we had the Hardy Boys versus the world's greatest tag team of Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. Welcome back, Charlie Haas. You seem to be all in my reviews as of late, especially with the Ring of Honor ones. So yeah, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin against the Hardy Boys in a ladder match for the World Tag Team titles, that are the Raw Tag Team titles. And this was very solid stuff. The Hardy Boys, you know, it was a ladder match in the Hardys, so it was pretty cool stuff. The Hardys were the ladder experts. The ladder experts, the Hardys versus the wrestling technicians of the World's Greatest Tag Team. So yeah, out to their death here with the ladder match, in the ladder match, were the World's Greatest Tag Team. But they did pretty solid stuff. They would torture the Hardys at points. And of course, Shelton Benjamin is no stranger to ladder matches himself. And yeah, good stuff, good match. Hardys would retain. Moving on to the next matchup. We had the Lumberjack match was next. We had Mark Henry taking on Kane. And this was pretty dull, man. I didn't like this match whatsoever. A lot of bear hugs. Mark Henry was trying to get over the bear hug as a finishing move, so it was very, very dull and very dull and very boring, basically. Mark Henry getting the bear hug victory over Kane, and yeah, The only memorable moment out of this match is the fact that this is Chris Benoit's last pay-per-view and he was a Lumberjack, so that's kind of it, really. And, yeah. Moving on to the next matchup. So very, very dull matchup there. Next matchup, we had Vince McMahon defending the ECW World Heavyweight Championship against the cover star right here, Bobby Lashley. Vince McMahon versus Bobby Lashley in a street fight for the ECW World Championship. Solid stuff, man. It was okay at times, but also there was times when it did kind of drag a little bit, where especially when Lashley was being beaten up 3-on-1 by Umaga and Shane and Vince. And it got a bit tentative at times, but it was a very solid performance. And of course, revenge was pretty sweet, as Bobby Lashley would get his revenge on Vincent Kennedy McMahon by pinning him to regain the ECW Championship. And yeah, very solid stuff. Big thumbs up towards the end of the match. But yeah, and it did drag a little bit when the 3-on-1 beating, especially when they were like choking him with the camera cord and choking him with like other objects. And yeah, it just got a little bit tentative after a while, but as I said, picked up towards the end and Bobby Lashley got that revenge. Good stuff right there. Anyway, next match up, we had Candice Michelle versus Melina in a pudding match. A non-title pudding match, and this was exactly what it was. It was a couple of minutes long, didn't take up too much time. It was a sign of the times, of course, and but it was fun while it lasted. You know, they looked pretty good, and they rolled around in pudding for a while. It did its job to satisfy the horny men in the audience. And yeah, Candice Michelle won via almost suffocating Melina with the pudding. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll move on. Yeah. So yeah, and then after the match, Candice Michelle, Maria Kanellis, and Melina all had a bit of a scuffle in the pudding, and the baby faces stood tall at the end. So good stuff right there. And that pudding looked disgusting, by the way. Just may I say, the pudding looked disgusting. The women looked fine. Awesome stuff. Anyway, let's move on to the next matchup, shall we? We went from a pudding match to a steel cage match. We had Edge defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the #1 contender Batista. This was another solid steel cage match. Awesome stuff. It was so it was basically the power of Batista versus the opportunist, the strategy artist known as Edge. And yeah, pretty cool stuff right here. Edge trying to find a way to escape the Batista's power. And eventually he was able to escape the cage to retain the World Heavyweight Championship in a very solid performance. Awesome stuff. Big thumbs up. I suggest you watch this match. Out of all the matches, suggest you watch this match. Awesome stuff. Next matchup, we had the main event. We had John Cena defending the WWE Championship against the Great Khali in a Falls Count Anywhere match. This is a pinfalls count anywhere match. They made sure to point that out. This was a very solid main event, a very decent main event. I know Khali gets a bad rap because I know a lot of people, he isn't the greatest technical wrestler of all time. But I think Khali did his job well here. Being the scary big man, and John Cena being that never giving up soldier kind of wrestler. Never giving up and always, trying to chop down the tree that is the Great Khali, and he managed to do it with a very awesome finish where Khali, he basically FU'd him, which is basically the attitude adjustment. He FU'd him off the crane, which was, what part of the set, and I was like, damn, that was pretty solid stuff. Good stuff of, a good show of strongness from John Cena there. Is that even a word? Sorry guys. I'm getting my lips tied right now. My tongue tied, shall I say. So yeah, very strong performance from John Cena. Khali had a great, Khali played his role as the big man very well. And it was just a decent performance. Very solid stuff. So yeah, and that's how, and Cena was able to pick up the victory, becoming the first person to not only submit the Great Khali, which happened at Judgment Day, the month before this, but becoming the first person to pin the Great Khali And it's all down here from Great Khali after this. You know, he would have a little bit of a run here and there, but he would soon after, not long after this, become a comedy guy. It is what it is. You know, he did his, as I said before, he did his job very well as the big scary monster. And yeah, credit to Khali. Him and Cena had a great match and great main event to kick off to end a very decent show. Anyway, that's going to be it now, guys. I gave the show a solid 7 out of 10. Very solid stuff. Really enjoyable show. The only down I actually really had was the Mark Henry Kane match. But apart from that, very enjoyable show. And we had pudding. So anyway, that's going to be it now, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll be back whenever, and I'll see you guys in a bit. And I'm out.